What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the brand new Bolt Fan Podcast. It's your boy, Josh, and I am back with the man, the myth, the legend. And Trevor, before I intro you completely, dude, what the frick is going on in the world right now? Look, training camp has started. All 32 teams are reported. So football is back. And then we get the crazy story, which, number one, thoughts and prayers to Eric Bieniemy and his family and the craziness going on with Kansas City right now. Kyle Shanahan gets in a car accident where he, quote unquote, nearly lost his eye, and yet it doesn't get recorded for 11 days. Jalen Carter signs a massive extension, and Justin Herbert gets engaged. What a crazy day in the NFL, man. Like, it's a great day to be a content creator, dude. There's so much to talk about.
My biggest concern right now is I'm just trying to figure out as if it's going to become Justin Beer or Madison Herbert.
I will say this. I saw the pictures that they posted together, and the sign said Mr. and Mrs. Herbert. So it seems like she's not even hyphenating her name. She's just going to become Madison Herbert. So,
well, a lot of times what they do with that too is like legally she'll become like Madison Herbert, but then like stage name, she'll still be Madison Beer.
I don't know. I've never been famous enough to have to worry about that.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Well, we're already married, so we're good. So by the time that we become anyone of note, our wives will have already had their names locked in, so we're good to go. So
our wives already have their names locked in.
That was my point. Yes, I didn't elaborate that well.
I was like, they both already went. All the paperwork's done, man.
Yeah. Well, let me look. Remember that one episode, dude, that we did, and I was like, "This is Trevor's flu game." This isn't quite my flu game, but I'll tell you this. So, I've been working Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Tonight is Tuesday night at 7:30 my time. And I have been working in the Phoenix sun for 3 days in a row, and every day has been over 117 degrees this week. And so I am physically exhausted. And by the end of my day today, I started getting a migraine and a little dehydration. So I'm literally sitting here with 2 bottles of water, just like double fisting, and just pounding water right now. But I just want y'all to know that's how much we care about y'all. The Bolt Fam Podcast loves the Bolt Fam because Trevor was literally came straight from a hospital to record an episode with y'all. And then the one night, and then here I am. I can't see straight, but we're good. We're getting it going. So we love y'all.
You talk anyways. You talk in your sleep, so that
man. I talk a lot. Even when I'm not on camera. So
especially if you're not on camera.
On the topic of talking, hey, Trevor, what are we talking about today? Massive news that of all the things I said today that have happened already since training camp started, and there's yet even more news, and this is the one we're going to talk about today.
We are talking about a certain player requesting a trade from his team. So, Vita Vea is requesting a trade from the Buccaneers. Hasn't really said, as far as I know, where he wants to go, but he said he wants out.
There was a report, actually, let me cut you off. There was a report, I don't know how true it is, but I will say it since we're talking about this, that he wants to go to either any of the California teams or the Vegas Raiders. He's from the West Coast and he wants to get out west. So he requested specifically any of the California teams or the Raiders, which basically narrows it down to because the Rams cap space is shot. So it basically is going to be, if they go by his wishes, it'll be the Chargers, the Raiders, the 49ers, and I feel like I'm missing one. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. I don't know why I thought there was another one. Now I got you thinking, huh? Because the Rams, Niners, Chargers. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yep. That's right.
Are you sure? Oh, because it used to be Oakland.
Yeah, that's what got. But the Raiders are in Vegas now.
Yeah.
So, and I was thinking the West Coast, so I was thinking Arizona maybe, but no, it's Rams, Chargers, Niners, Raiders is what he's asking for, and I can't really see a world where the Rams or the Niners have enough cap space for him, and I don't think that the Raiders are going to be good enough for him to want to really go there. So, kind of makes a lot of sense for the one team that fits to be the one team with $40 million in cap space right now. Because that's the coolest part of this.
Ah,
As
man,
much
that's
as
just
we,
disrespectful.
what's that?
I looked up how many California football teams are there, and it says NFL. California has two NFL teams, the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams.
Wow, that is disrespectful.
AI is disrespecting us, man. That's
uh,
some bull crap.
all right. Well, Trevor's starting a war with ChatGPT right now, but no, the interesting part where the reason it's interesting for us, every team in the league is going to kick the tires on a Vita Vea trade. But the Chargers actually have the cap space, which most teams don't this time of year. So we've dogged on Ortiz for not spending the money, but maybe there's a reason. And we kept saying maybe he's going to do something, at the trade deadline. Maybe something just presented itself early and he might hop on this. So, what do you think, Trev? Should we or should we not? I'll get into what the contract would have to look like and what the compensation would look like. But what do you think? Would you think this is a good trade for the Chargers to go pursue?
Well, if you want to know my opinion, go watch our previous episode.
Yeah.
Um, the Fear Factor episode, I mentioned that one of my mild concerns, not like a true, like, oh, we're going to be sucking on the D line this year, but one of the things I was slightly concerned about was the interior D line. And then Josh called me yesterday telling me, hey, Vita Vea just requested a trade. And I was like, well, shoot, that takes care of that fear. So,
That would solve a problem. It
yeah,
would take
that is,
fear from us and put it in the rest of the AFC.
I mean, we got to do something if we're going to be competing against the Rams in the Super Bowl. So,
That's right. Which was my prediction. All LA and SoFi. Give me the stats, dude. I know you pulled them up. Let's start
oh,
there.
yeah,
Go to
yeah,
the
sorry.
stats. No, you're good. I'll break down contract and compensation in just a minute. I wanted to get through the who is this guy for those who don't know, and why is he one of the best D tackles on planet Earth?
One of the main things I see on here for starters is just longevity. He's had one season in 2020 where he was injured. Other than that, he's played 14 plus games his rookie season, he played 13. And then 14, 15, he played 13, 16, and then 5, 16, 14, 15, 16, and all 17 this last year. Like he's on the field. Like
Yep.
for starters, that's a huge thing. Um, because that's really hard to do as an interior lineman. Like it takes one person rolling up on your leg and you're out for a season. So, for starters, that's really nice to see the health factor. Um, averages about 5 sacks a season. I can live with that from a D lineman, interior D lineman. Um, but he has 2 pass deflected, 1 fumble recovery this last year. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler. The other one that I really like, the stat that I really love. So he has 34 tackles, 7 tackles for loss this last season. That's about average for what he's had. He had 2 good seasons where he was in the 40s on tackles. Um, so again, as a D lineman, I love that. The main one that I really love is this last season, he tied his career high for quarterback hits. He had 13 quarterback hits this last season. You give me someone getting that kind of pressure up the middle, and then we got Mesidor, Mack, and Thule on the outside, putting the pressure on the quarterback there. Like I've said it in previous episodes, you put pressure on the quarterback and like offenses start crumbling.
Mm-hmm.
Like if nothing else, like even if they don't crumble, like you take away like those huge 70-yard bombs downfield because they don't have time to get them off. Um, and so if we can do that from all 4 lineman positions, that is a good place to be. So I very much think he's worth the money. We have the money, so why not spend it?
Yep.
Um, and then I don't know the logistics. Tell me what we would have to give up in the process because I don't think we have to give up a ton besides the money.
So I thought about the precedent here. So kind of universally, the top 2 defensive tackles in the league right now are Dexter Lawrence, who just got traded to Cincinnati, and Vita Vea. Like if you just ask the average football fan who's the top defensive tackle in football, you're probably going to get one of those two answers. So I thought about it. Now there's a few other guys, Jalen Carter, who I'm going to talk about in a second because that's
You're asking my
important.
wife, it's Tier Tart.
Well, I mean, so I'm glad you brought up tier chart. I thought about in what would some packages look like that we would have to trade. In that, I thought about what Cleveland did with Miles Garrett. First of all, that was my first thought, and they traded an older veteran for a younger good player at the same position, so that they don't lose depth of the position. So my thinking is, if they did a similar thing, um, we would either have to give up now, Tier Tart doesn't make a lot of sense because we just paid him, and Tampa Bay is trying to cut back on finances because they're in a contract dispute with their quarterback, Baker Mayfield, as well. So they're having a hard time with their two highest paid players. Both want raises right now, in Vita Vea and Baker Mayfield. Um, so that's where their problem's coming in. So if they dump Vita Vea, my thinking is they're dumping him to get the money freed up to pay Baker, which I would do if I were them. I think that the quarterback's the most important position in football. So I would do that. If I were them, I would say, hey, I need a young defensive tackle. So Tier Tart is making about $10 million this year. Now, the good news about Tier Tart, if we were to throw him into the package, if you're Tampa's side of it, he's got 3 years at like 37 million, I think, or 36 million. So it might be like 12 million a year. Off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly. So it would save them money, get a solid player who's really good and can fill that role. So I thought about maybe Tier Tart and like a fourth round pick. What I think is more reasonable, Dexter Lawrence just got traded for the 10th overall pick in the draft. Now, we don't know where the Chargers picks will be, but Dexter Lawrence was traded straight up, Dexter Lawrence for the 10th overall pick. So if you take that compensation, I had the thought that we could do it where we just give up a first round pick next year's draft. Straight up first rounder, that's it.
It's just the
Um
32nd pick. It's not a big deal.
yeah, right. And you might throw in like, hey, we'll go first and then like a sixth rounder next year or something like that, so that you're spread it out, but you give them a little bit of wiggle room because we don't know exactly where that pick is going to be. Um, So the packages that I kind of came up with are this. Package one would be Tierra Tart and a fourth round pick for Vita Vea. If you just go straight up, no players involved, um, and you're just going to do picks, well, then you've got a first rounder next year. End of story. If you're going to go, what I think is the most logical, if I were Tampa Bay, this is the one that I would want. I would want Jamari Caldwell, who was a third round pick last year. Going into year two, he's a young player on a rookie contract, good cost controlled player, and he played really good and has a lot of upside for next year. I've been really excited about Jamari Caldwell. The reason that I didn't have a fear factor on the D line is because I think Jamari Caldwell is about to take a leap. So maybe this is my bias, and like I really believe in Jamari Caldwell. But if Tampa Bay feels the same as me, maybe they go Jamari Caldwell and a second round pick, or Jamari Caldwell and a third round pick, maybe something like that. Which to me is probably the most logical. I think you got to give up Jamari Caldwell and a second rounder next year. And again, for me, I think these work for both sides. Where any of those three packages, what Jamari Caldwell and an early pick, but not a first, or you get just a straight up first rounder, or you get Tierra Tart and a fourth. So that was kind of where I went. And I think any of those packages, genuinely, Tampa Bay would say those would make sense to them. And the Chargers, I think, make sense for us as well. So is there any of those packages where you're like, no, I wouldn't trade that for Vita Vea?
I don't love the Tier Tart one. Just bias aside, like we just paid the dude. I don't really love paying someone just to get rid of him. We
And
paid
you
him
want
for
to
a
pair
reason
them up, right?
because, huh?
And you want to pair up and have Tart and Vea on the field together.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Because we just paid a dude. So obviously, if we're paying him, it's because we believe in him and like he earned the money. And so I don't want to just pay him just to be like, oh well, sorry, this other dude across the league suddenly wants to come over here, so we're just ditching you. I don't love the business aspect of that even. Um, but so I don't love the tier tart. I would still do it because it is still a business.
Yeah.
Um, and he is still better, and it's like the transaction wise, it would be worth it. Um, but I would prefer honestly just to pick one honest like that
Straight up
pick
just a first?
first and like sixth, like you said, or something like that. Like I'd be okay with that. Um,
Interesting.
yeah. I mean, I would take that. I would take the drawing a blank on the third one you said.
Jamar Caldwell and a
Caldwell, yeah,
second round.
sorry. Um, yeah, I would take like the Caldwell trade. Uh, I think Tartan Vea would be nasty combo on the middle, and then you get because
Oh,
Tart's a big run stopper. Vea has like
yeah.
some run stopping, but he
Oh
also
yeah,
is getting. I mean, he's yeah, he's got the run stopping, but he's
he
also
does
getting the
both.
pressure on the QB and everything. Um, and so I mean, I feel like you got a one of each on D tackle that like kind of both. Tart doesn't really get a lot of pressure on the QB. Um, he does get a lot of swatted passes though. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll say this really quick. I think it just comes down to how do the how does Tampa Bay value Tierra Tart and Jamari Caldwell?
yeah,
Because if they're looking at it like, and this is maybe correct me if I'm wrong, it seems that you view Tart as like significantly better than Caldwell versus where I'm at is I think Tart is better than Caldwell, but it's a lot closer gap than maybe where you're at. So I view these guys because the gap for me is, hey, it's Tart and a fourth versus Caldwell and a second. So I don't think it's that big of a gap. I think that it's Tart is better. He's a little, but also you take into account he's older and he's going to decline sooner than Jamari Caldwell might just be, on the ascent and who knows how far he goes. So I'm maybe valuing the younger player with more upside a little bit higher than you, because we both tend to operate
I'm
like
gonna
that.
say us doing that. What? Never.
Right. But I think that it's interesting. Here's the other part. So for the Chargers, downside for us, this is a win now move because you're going to have to bring in a 31-year-old and give up maybe a 23-year-old in Caldwell.
That's
Um, so
two
that's,
of our D
so,
linemen would be in their 30s.
I mean, and Mac is going to be, or Mac's like 35. Now we've got obviously Mesidor's young, Tooley's young. And then, we just drafted Nick Barrett, who he's a fifth rounder, so we'll
How
see.
old's Tart? Do you know off the top of your head?
Tart, I was about to say he's about 28, I think, if I remember
That's
right.
what I was thinking.
So he's kind of at the right in the middle of his prime, maybe towards the end because D linemen have shorter careers because they get beat on all the time. So it's an interesting to kind of it makes you older and maybe closes your window down of like, or you're gonna have to replenish the young players later.
But I think
Um,
we're already in a win now situation.
I agree. I agree. It's got to be Super Bowl or bust this year for the Chargers. Like
Like I
we
don't.
may only get 1 year of Mike McDaniel. We got to go for it right now.
Yeah, I don't think that we're like building anymore. Like we're past the rebuild stage. Like that was 2 years ago. We're
Right.
in the win now.
I agree. I agree.
Like
Well, then let's talk money real quick. So, because here's the other reason that we get a little bit of a discount on the trade for the talent of the player because Tampa Bay understands we got to pay this man. And so, interestingly enough, today, Jalen Carter just signed his contract. I don't know if you saw this.
mhm.
Jalen Carter signed with the Eagles. So I pulled up his contract because most of the time the way these things go is he's going to become the next highest paid player. So he's going to be a little bit more than what Jalen Carter just got. So Jalen Carter just got 4 years, 152 million with 106 million guaranteed. So if you break that down, 152 times 4 years, you're looking at close to 40 million. It's not quite 40. I haven't. So it's like 38, 36,
No,
37.
150 over 4 years is like 45 million a year.
Did I do my math wrong?
42 and a half, something like that.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. I did it backwards. Dude, I told y'all
Wait,
I'm
no.
exhausted.
4 years,
We
150
should have
million.
done the math before we got it. This is terrible
Sorry, hold
podcasting.
up. I was wrong. I was wrong. That's like 37 million.
Okay.
Um,
You just make me second
because
guess myself.
4 years, 40 million would be 160.
Right. That's how I did my math. Then I subtracted to like 37. Yeah. I said
Yeah. So
36, 37, 38. So, all
sorry.
right,
Yeah.
man.
My bad.
And anyways,
10 o'clock in
dude,
the
I'm
here.
so tired right now that I was like, yeah, I probably screwed up. I didn't even try to argue with you. So anyways, so so basically you're looking at paying a 31-year-old $38 million a year. Now maybe you can negotiate to a 2-year contract extension or even a 3-year contract extension. The good news as well here, we have to remember, um, his contract's already set for this year. So he's going to make about 17 million this year. So of the 40 million we have in cap, he's going to only eat up about 17 million of that. Um, and if we give up other players, you deduct whatever they got, whatever. But it's only going to be 17 million unless they tear up his contract and start it immediately. But my guess is it would be a 3-year extension on his contract for a big pay raise. So it doesn't really kick in till next year. So if they do that, you could keep him at $17 million and have plenty of money to make a midseason trade as well.
Yeah.
So that's where the money can make a lot of sense with how Joe Ortiz has structured the salary cap. The problem is that means that next year you're going to have Vita Vea making 38 million, Tooley probably making 30 plus, DJ making 28, 29 million, whatever his contract is. So that defense, oh yeah, and Dayon Henley's up for an extension as well. So that defense could get expensive really fast. And if Khalil Mack returns, maybe another 15 to 18 million for him. Like, you're getting into that territory where it's getting expensive. Now we expect the salary cap to go up. We got some money that'll roll over. So it's workable, but it just puts us in a little bit tighter spot cap space wise. Um, removes a little bit of flexibility starting next year. But like we said, if we're in win now mode, like we're talking about,
Yeah.
we deal with that next year.
Yep.
And we see how much the cap goes up, and we see who we need to trade and who we need to cut next year. And that gives the Bolt Fan podcast some content to talk about later. But that's not the point of this move right
I know
now.
you've never seen How I Met Your Mother.
I have not.
But in the words of How I Met Your Mother, that's a future Chargers problem.
Yeah,
That that's not now. That's a future Chargers problem.
it is. So the big issue there is $38 million for a guy who's 31 years old. And again, D linemen, shorter careers could fall off, but he's been pretty healthy for the most part, like you brought up.
Maybe it's because I played D line, but I put a huge value on the D line.
Oh
Like
no, 100%.
that
Yeah.
sets the same way the offensive line sets. Like if you have a crappy offensive line, like your quarterback can't do anything.
Yep.
If you have a great defensive line, their quarterback can't do anything.
Yep. Well, and
Like
here's the other part. A great D line allows you to play different coverages where you can have 7 in coverage and only have to rush 4 and still get pressure
yep,
on the quarterback. I
yep,
mean, if we've got a D line right now of, let's just say we run out there with Tooley on one end, Mack on the other end, Tart and Vea in the middle. Well, who are they sliding double teams to? Like, because I'll take one-on-ones with any of those guys, and they're going to have 5 blockers, maybe 6 if they keep a running back or a tight end to chip.
7 if they go. Gonna say 7 if they really go like tight end and running back on like a just a sending 3 deep downfield. Like
Well, but here's the thing with that. So, okay, let's break down all those situations. If you're an offense, what's your answer? So we keep 5 in protection, and then we got 3 of these guys getting one-on-ones. Okay, that's not great for us. If we keep 6 in protection, we got 2 guys getting one-on-ones, and we're only sending out, 4 guys on route. So the Chargers have 7 defensive backs and linebackers who are covering 4 guys, which means the pass game is really limited because we're now double teaming 3 of your receivers, theoretically. I mean, obviously, it's not that simple, but and then if they keep 7 in protection, we got 3 guys. All of our guys are being double covered downfield, and they have an extra guy to just roam. And oh yeah, by the way, now we're still getting one-on-one with one of those 4 guys. So there's not a situation that is good for the offense when you have 4 guys who create pressure. It's what Denver was so good at last year. Denver's defense was really good.
I just
Houston's defense was really good. And oh yeah, Seattle won the Super Bowl. And guess what? See, all of 3 of those teams, who were probably the 3 best defenses in football last year, all had elite defensive lines and would drop 7 in coverage on a regular basis and still get pressure. Because if you look, Will Anderson's ruining your day. Danielle Hunter's ruining your day. Nick Bonito's ruining your day. Jonathan Cooper. Um, John Franklin Myers was with Denver last year. You go through and who's the other one? Oh, Seattle had. I mean, good God! Not only did they have elite dudes, then they got Witherspoon in the back, which is just as good of a corner, and Nick Emanwari, who's a top 3 safety in the league. Like, and oh yeah, and they can get pressure with Leonard Williams and some of those guys. Like, they had every good defense you ever see has an elite D line and can cover with 7 guys in the back end. So now the hard part of this is, can we stop the run with a light box? And I think Vita Vea, Tierra Tart, Khalil Mack, and Thule are both good run like edge setters in the running game as well. They're not just straight pass rushers. So I really believe we can have a 5 and 6 man box and still stop the run with this defense.
Well, and you
Oh
got
yeah.
Perriman who just runs straight downhill.
And don't forget, in the nickel, which is going to be playing on the line of scrimmage, is this guy who's pretty good named Derwin James. He's going to be on the line playing like a hybrid linebacker corner safety role, like
Oh yeah,
slash edge rusher.
he would end up being the roamer, dude. Like he's not like unless we're
Yeah,
playing like if we're playing LA or something, like he's probably gonna be on like Puka. But um
which is
maybe
a
if he,
great matchup. Puka playing in the slot versus Derwin James. I
yeah.
could just watch those one-on-ones all day long.
But like otherwise, like if they just got like average receivers, like DJ's gonna be the one roaming, and so then he's you don't know where he's going. He's just out there doing whatever he wants.
Yeah, dude. I really think that this would. Here's the thing we talked about a lot this offseason. The biggest scare for us right now, as far as like the team, is how are we going to look without Jesse Minter? I think a way to help Chris O'Leary's, introduction into the NFL is just give him a D line that he doesn't have to blitz with and
Hmm.
let him do exotic coverages and be like, hey, we're going to send 4. And then every now and then you send Derwin on a blitz, you send one of the linebackers, and you can send 5 or 6 to mix them up.
Right.
But for the most part, we're going to sit in a very simple nickel based defense. Like, it's not going to be a typical base, it's going to be a nickel base, which is really filthy. And the only way
Yep.
you can beat it is to run. But oh yeah, first of all, how many teams have elite running games in the NFL in 2026? Most teams are built around the quarterback and the passing game.
Chiefs probably will this year.
I don't think so. So that's a take for another day. I know Kenneth Walker is really good. Kenneth Walker has never been the only running back on a team, and he's never been a bell cow. I don't think that Kenneth Walker is going to make it through 17 games as a bell cow getting 20 carries a game. And that's what they're going to ask him to. Now, he was really good when it was him and Charbonnet together.
Hmm.
And when Charbonnet got hurt, he had a great month. I don't think you're getting 17 great games out of Kenneth Walker. And the fact that that's all Kansas City did to think, oh, now we got a running game. No, you don't. I think that I said this about, remember last year I was down on the Cowboys because they were like, oh, we got Pickens and CD Lamb. And I'm like, and nothing else. You're a pulled hamstring away from having a bad offense. I feel the same way about,
So happened with the Giants. Neighbors went down, and okay, now
that's
what?
another
Like,
one. And yeah, and then you got, 4th round Cam Scatterboo is your best offensive player. Like, I just, and I love Scatterboo. Don't get me
I'm
wrong,
gonna say
but
I love the way he runs, but he's gonna have a 3-year career and not even get
bro,
past his rookie contract.
I mean, I live in Arizona, dude, and watching him play at Arizona State was so much fun. But that's not the point here. Point being in all of this that we're saying, Vita Vea changes the math for the offense we're facing, and he changes the math for Chris O'Leary. And we talk about giving the quarterback easy buttons on offense. This gives some Chris O'Leary a few easy buttons, where it's like, hey, I don't have to dial up this crazy exotic, Mike Tomlin, Rex Ryan type, blitz, when I can just run a very simple base defense that they can't do anything with. And that helps. So, that's the contract stuff. That's the compensation. Let us know what y'all think. Is there another package that y'all might think to offer? We're gonna have to pay him. It would end up being a little bit more than Jalen Carter, more than Dexter Lawrence. Like, he's got to get paid more than that, and we have the money to do it. So, I would even be willing to rip up the contract he's currently on and start him this year on it because we have money right now to kind of get a jump start on some of that. But maybe, you tell him we're going to give you 3 years, but we're going to start your pay raise this year. There's things to negotiate and things you can do as a team to help the player and help the cap space. But yeah, Trevor, you got anything else to add? I think we covered a lot here.
No, I got all my stuff, all the stats and everything. I
Good
like it.
deal.
I want them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're on board. I think I've watched a few Chargers content creators, like probably the same ones that you guys all watch, because I'm a fan too. And everyone I've heard, everybody on the Chargers YouTube has been like, "Yep, let's make this happen. Let's find a way." So we're all on board. It's a good move, and the fan base would be pumped, man. So, but with that being said, thank y'all for tuning in. And training camp has officially started. Football is back, baby. We are like 2 weeks away, maybe 3 weeks away from the
There's
first preseason game. We're
the Hall
back.
of Fame game or whatever is next week.
Hall of Fame games next week. And I'm actually already. So the cool part about living in Phoenix is I've been listening to Arizona Sports Radio to get the insight on the Cardinals. So I will have great coverage for Week 1 when we play Arizona. I've already been studying it, and like I said last week, I've actually started up on the Raiders for Week 2, and I'll start on Buffalo a little bit in a few weeks. So gonna work through the schedule, but. It's going to be great. Y'all make sure so you don't miss any of the best Chargers content on the internet. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you don't miss anything. And with that being said, we love y'all. Peace out. Bolt up. We'll talk to you very soon.